Not many county courthouses can boast of having a major racing facility just 4 blocks away. Marion County can, and they're plenty pleased about it. In fact, about half the people that work in that courthouse during the week, they're out at the racetrack working hard and food booths or whatever. This was moments ago. Doug Wolfgang had to come in for a tire. The crew installed one. He is back out on the racetrack awaiting a restart, but for all intents and purposes, that story is over.
It sure is, Steve, and a tragic one at that, because he had made such a terrific comeback. He was assured of a starting spot in the A main, but right now Shane Carson, Rick Unger, Danny Smith, and Joe Garrity are the guys that will advance into that prestigious feature race, and unless, as you say, a miracle happens for Doug Wolfgang, he's finished for the day.
Well, the field has restarted, only 2 laps to go, and there's only 4 happy drivers out there right now. Those are the top 4, led by Shane Carson in the 10 blue car. They're the only 4 that are going to go to the A main, and that's where the big payoff is in the Coors Knoxville Nationals. Right now it's Carson, Rick Unger, Danny Smith, and Joe Garrity in that order in the top 4.
So as this race unwinds, here comes Shane Carson. Final lap in the 10 car from Oklahoma City. And unless he gets it totally crossed up here in turns 3 and 4, he will beat Rick Unger to the line by a substantial margin.
Shane Carson, who does not follow the entire World of Outlaws tour, will take an important checkered flag. Here he goes to the A main. The reason he doesn't run all the races, Brock, as you know, he is the promoter at the beautiful facility on the Oklahoma State Fairgrounds. They run sprint cars, they run lots of stuff there, and not a nicer facility anywhere in the country, not a nicer guy than the man in number 10.
Well, Shane's got to be happy because he moves into that prestigious A main and gets himself a shot at his first ever victory here in the Coors Knoxville Nationals. And remember, victory in that A main coming up is worth right on $30,000. So a lot of serious players are going to run real hard for that, including this man, Shane Carson, as he heads into the pits, taking this well-deserved victory here. So Shane Carson wins it. Rick Unger second. Danny Smith and Joe Garrity move into the A main. Johnny Herrera, good, strong 5th place, but not enough to get him into the big event. And, of course, a man absent from this listing is Whiz Steve.
I doubt that any of us can imagine the disappointment Doug Wolfgang feels, a 4-time winner, and you know that this crowd was behind you all weekend long, just trying to pull you home.
Well, I race all over the country, but I very seldom race anywhere near my hometown, and this is within 4 or 5 hours of my hometown. A lot of these folks here are my home folks, country folks, and I learned how to drive sprint cars on a weekly basis right here at this track, so a lot of the fans are with me here. It really makes me feel good to come back here.
In that B main, before the tire went down, you looked like you were going to get in the top 4. You had a shot at it.
Yeah, I think we were 3rd at the time, and I was locked down solid. I think we'd have been all right. I actually think if I would have finished, ifs don't count, but I think I could have had a run at the main event even.
You have that much horsepower, that good a chassis setup?
We were, in that B, we were locked in nice. I mean, I don't think the track will change that much from now on out, and we were going real good. Once I lost a little bit of fuel and got some warmth in the tires, I was going to the front there in the B main. Of course, the B main's the B main's, not the main event, so I felt pretty good right then.
Thanks for talking with us. We appreciate it. We'll see you next year.
Thanks for coming.
Okay.
Well, we're sure glad we did come. Otherwise, we wouldn't have seen that sensational drive by Doug Wolfgang that ended with disappointment, but you can be sure he will be back. All right, as the fans settle in for the last race of the night, remember Steve promised us a feature on his dining habits? How about this?
Well, here's my 4-star dining suggestion while you're visiting the Knoxville Nationals. Come about 50 yards across the street from the campground where you find these great big flaming cookers. Now, Iowa raises a lot of corn, right? Well, they feed it to some of the finest hogs in the world, and look at the pork sizzling up here. 12-ounce pork chops, pork patties, and it all smells so good because the cooker is loaded up with hickory. Oh, I can't resist. I'm going in. This is all done by the Marion County pork producers, and the ladies in here tell me that before the weekend is out, they'll dispense about 3,000 pounds of pork. Let me have a pork chop. Could I? Okay. A little bit later, I'll have some suggestions for what to do after the races. How much is that?
$2.75.
$2.75 for a 12-ounce pork chop? Well, I could live here.
Good.
How much with a drink?
Quarter more. It's $3.
Can I have a drink?
Sure.
This is unbelievable.
Boy, that Evans knows how to live, I'll tell you. Now, the stage is set for the Coors Knoxville Nationals coming up.
Welcome back, everyone, to Knoxville Raceway. We're just a few minutes away from the most important sprint car race of the year, the A-Main here at the Knoxville Nationals. And this is the man, Steve Kentzer, on the pole. And Steve, you won this race so many times, but still, it would be special. In fact, if you win it again, you'll hold that record.
Well, that'd make it awful special. I'd be the only person that's won this race 5 times if I can pull it off here tonight. And we got the ideal starting spot. Just hope we can get out in the lead and keep it there all the way.
The competition is saying that you've got maybe a 25 or 30 horsepower advantage over anybody else. You think that's true?
I don't know. Our motors are definitely hitting hard. I don't think we got that much horsepower everybody else. I think just the knowledge of me and Carl working together and been together so many years, we just click things off, and I think we know how to read the racetracks maybe just a touch better. And I'm not saying we're down on any horsepower either.
Good luck on ending this weekend in grand style.
Thank you. I hope we do it.
Okay, Steve Kentzer. Brock?
Well, Steve, as the cars continue to warm up out on the racetrack, I'm with Jeff Swindell, who is going to start on the outside of the front row next to Steve Kentzer, based on 4th quick qualifying time, a really strong victory in his heat, and a 4th place finish in the feature. But, Jeff, I know you reckon you could have done a whole lot better in that feature than 4th.
Yeah, well, we had to start 7th, and Steve started beside us. We got a good start. We took off. We started running through them. It looked like we were going to go right to the front immediately. About 7 or 8 laps in, we had the thing got real loose. We didn't know what it was. We come in and checked it out. There's a heim that holds the right rear suspension to the axle, and it froze against the bolt. It wouldn't let the right rear suspension work, so it got the car really loose, and it just wouldn't come off the corner. We held on to 4th, and Steve went on to win the race, but you know, it was enough. We got enough points through all the other qualifying events, and so it put us on the front row outside. That's really the place we want to be for the feature tonight.
Well, I know that Tommy Sanders and the guys from Gambler tell me that you all worked on the car and you figure you got that sorted out now.
Yeah, I think so. Tommy and Charlie Fisher and them came over and helped me out a pretty good bit. This is a new 87 style car, and I haven't been running very many sprint car races this year. This car is a little different than most of them. So there's a few little pointers that they kind of showed to me that Steve and Doty and a bunch of the guys are doing. So it's helped me out a lot, and I think they've been a big asset.
Well, we're going to be watching, and the best of luck in the feature, Jeff.
All right, thank you very much.
All right, Steve?
Starting outside in the 2nd row, the brilliant red car, number 6 of Bobby Davis Jr. And Bobby, you found out here, unfortunately, earlier this season, back in April, that traffic can play a big part in your success. You were leading the race, and all of a sudden, what happened?
Well, we was leading the race, like you said, and we went in turn 1, and we was lapping a lap car, and it was really rough that night. And he just started bouncing. I passed him, actually, and he started bouncing in front of me, and he kind of come back underneath me, and I run over his right rear tire, and we got in a fence pretty hard.
Did you learn something about the track and about that kind of maneuvering that day, that night?
Well, no, you know, everybody was kind of jumping around that night, and it was just a basic rough racetrack, and it was really fast that night, so I think it was just one of them things that happened, really.
With all the prestige and all the money on the line, would you expect a very physical race?
Yeah, it'll be physical, and everybody will be 100% out for it.
Good luck to you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, let's go back a little ways in the field and Brock Yates.
Well, Steve, I'm with the fastest man ever at this fabled Lowell Speedway. Jimmy Sills set the absolute track record here in qualifying at a 16:23, which is well over 110 miles an hour on a half mile. A prodigious feat indeed. And first of all, Jimmy, congratulations.
Oh, thank you, Brock. It represents a great high in my career.
Well, to run against a whole bunch of top guys like this, to come in here and qualify anywhere near the front, I know would be a big honor, but to set the absolute track record, the car was working terrifically. But I know you had some problems in your heat race. Have you got it corrected now?
Yeah, we changed it for the B main. We missed a transfer through the heat and had to run the B, and we got it worked out, and the car felt real good then. And I think our racetrack we have tonight will be pretty close to that, so I think we're in good shape.
Good. So you'll start on the outside of the 3rd row, a good starting position, and within 30 laps, I guess you just got to charge to the front as quick as you can.
Well, yeah, there's some heavy hitters starting up in front of me, and we're going to have to be real fast and take every opportunity I have to get to the front.
Well, we sure wish you luck, and again, congratulations on that lap record.
Thank you, Brock.
Okay. Jimmy Sills. Steve?
This man, Ronnie Schumann, will be starting on the outside of row number 4 in the 7R car. And Ron, you know what it means to a driver to win this race. Can you express it?
Well, I guess it'd be like winning the Indianapolis of
This is the Indianapolis of sprint cars. It'd be like winning the Indy 500. There's a lot of other 500-mile races and big races in Indy cars, but nothing's like Indy, and nothing's like winning the Knoxville National.
You know, as I walked up, I could see you were in deep thought. What's going through your mind?
Well, I don't know. I'm trying to figure out, you know, I mean, every night the racetrack's different, and we were pretty good last night, and I'm trying to figure out what we need to do different for tonight.
Let's hope you find it.
I think we need to do a little searching.
Okay. Brock Yates?
Well, Steve, as you know, the starting positions in the A main are determined by 3 factors: qualifying times, heat race, and a feature race. And Sammy Swindell is going to start on the inside of the 7th row. Did super in his 2 races, won them both, but didn't qualify very well. Sammy, 20th. That's kind of a surprise for you.
Well, yeah, we usually don't qualify that bad, but the track got a little better. We went out, we were like the 6th car out. The track got a little faster, so it made a lot of guys that, you know, normally would out qualify pretty easily, you know, got right in there. But we didn't have the car quite right either, so we had a little push, but, you know, we took care of that right after we come back in.
Sammy Swindell. Steve?
This young man, Brad Doty, will soon join his compatriots out on this racetrack in the 18 car outside of the 7th row. Tough position.
Yeah, we got a long way to go. We're just going to try to charge the front and do everything we can.
Be a big career boost.
Sure would. Kinzer starting on the front row, and if we can drive by him, it'd really be good, wouldn't it?
Grab your hat. We'll see you then.
Okay, thank you.
We'll be right back with the greatest sprint car race of them all, the Knoxville Nationals. Stay with us.
This is the famous World of Outlaws 4 abreast pace lap as we get ready to start the biggest sprint car race in history, the Coors Knoxville Nationals. The folks, they love this start, and look at this. The wave comes to Knoxville, Iowa, Steve Evans.
That's right. The fans, they're saluting the racers as well. It's always a beautiful sight, and it's a beautiful night on a tremendous racetrack. Number 1 on the pole, Steve Kinzer. Boy, I don't know if they're going to be able to catch him, Brock. Jeff Swindell says he can run with him. Bobby Davis Jr. hopes that he can.
Mark Kinzer, one of the Kinzer family. Jimmy Sills, the quick man here. Dave Blaney, Ron Schumann, who says he's got some problems, not too confident. Kelly Kinzer in the 20K car. We've seen him run well here. Sammy Swindell, we know how good he is. Alongside him, Brad Doty.
Swindell, however, a few weeks ago hit the wall head-on, his home track in Memphis. The steering broke in his car, and he is driving with a very sore shoulder. He said it's painful every inch of the way.
Right. We just saw Shane Carson and Rick Unger dominate this B main. Danny Smith, remember, he ran 3rd. Joe Garrity 4th there. That's a good field. Believe me, there's some very strong runners out here. But, as you said, can anybody catch that 11 car? Remember, he said the combination, Steve Kinzer and his uncle Carl Kinzer. This is nearly a decade that they've run together, and boy, I'll tell you what, nobody knows the combination better than that pair.
30 laps of racing. This is what the crowd came to see. The A main, the Knoxville Nationals. Steve Kinzer on the pole, Jeff Swindell outside in the orange car, and it is Steve Kinzer leading them into turn 1, out of turn 2. Trying to stay low is Jeff Swindell, but he is past Brock.
He sure is. It's Bobby Davis Jr., another Memphis race driver, one of the best ones, taking over the 2nd spot. And leading lap number 1, Steve Kinzer. Right behind him, Bobby Davis Jr. And look at this, Jimmy Sills challenges Swindell for the 3rd spot.
Just a ballet going on for that 3rd spot. First one is high, then the other one high. That is Jimmy Sills being challenged on the inside by Jeff Swindell, the 1 car, and this time Sills takes it over. He is in the 3rd position.
Now watch Jeff Swindell, Steve. He's running very low on this racetrack. The fast guys seem to be able to run that high groove, but here comes Jeff back again. But Sills stays high and holds on to that 3rd spot.
Well, it appears that he scrubs off so much speed staying low like that, Brock, that he can make up a few car lengths in the turn, but he loses it right back on the straightaway. He doesn't have the momentum coming out of the corner.
Well, that's a handling problem. I'm sure Jeff would like to run high if the race car would permit him. There's the 51 car. That is Mark Kinzer, now moving in to challenge Swindell.
And that red 56 car you saw, Kenny Jacobs, he is back in the 6th position. But the battle right now between Mark Kinzer and Jeff Swindell. Swindell is trying to go high now to take that line. He gets a little bit too high up into the marbles. The 51 car, Mark Kinzer, goes underneath and takes the position.
Now here is the 18 car of Brad Doty, one of the favorites in this race. He's sitting in the 11th spot. He is chasing Kelly Kinzer in that 20K car. Right behind them in the 12th spot is Lee Brewer in the number 1 car. There is Leland Spadden getting high and almost losing it in turn number 4. And Lee Brewer bounces off him, but keeps on going, and no yellow, Steve.
No yellow. Both drivers continue. But the 1ST white car driven by Lee Brewer, they lost some positions. They were running in 12th, had that little brush up with McSpadden, and that put them back a few places.
So here comes Lee trying to make up some distance. That yellow car, that 49 car, is Danny Lasowski, who is from Dover, Missouri, trying to move through the field. The field is spread out all the way around. There's the leader, Steve, the 11 car, Steve Kinzer, and he is now moving through lap traffic.
That is the 2S car, the white machine of Steve Siegel. He now goes a lap down, and coming up in Kinzer's sights will be the 1ST car of Lee Brewer. Had that little problem with McSpadden, and also the 6R white car of Danny Smith. Those are the next 2 cars that he will attempt to lap. When you get into this kind of traffic, though, suddenly your lead can erode pretty quickly.
Oh, and it can be destroyed, as we saw happen with Bobby Davis Jr. in an earlier race there. So he has to be very cautious threading his way through these slower automobiles.
And there's a lot of them. He's got Shane Carson in the 10 car. You can see right there. And on the inside, the 1ST, the white machine of Lee Brewer, as they fling themselves into turn 1. And Kinzer puts a couple of wheels in the infield, maybe a little too anxious, trying to get around. And here comes Brad Doty. Doty in the number 18 car, the blue and silver machine. Really, Brock has not moved up as much as he had hoped to early on. He's 10th, chasing that white machine of Dave Blaney, the 48 car.
So Dave Blaney sitting in 9th spot right now is giving Brad Doty all he asked for is they sweep down into turn number 1, and Doty goes low. Can he do it? Yes. Moves by Blaney and takes over that 9th spot. So Brad Doty, for the time being, continues to move through the field. But look at this. Dave Blaney comes right back at Doty on the low side, Steve, and may take that 9th spot back.
But Doty had far more acceleration out of the turn, Brock. He's going to make up for any maneuver that Blaney may have made going low. Now, Blaney is going to try the same kind of a philosophy on Brad Doty, but Doty is going to hold on to that position.
Yep, he's got a little bit more power than Dave tonight, and that car's really well hooked up. So Doty rides a 9th spot here.
He is closing on 24D, that gray machine of Ronnie Daniels. Daniels in the 8th position. Brad is starting to execute very well here now. So far, he has not had to contend with a whole lot of traffic. He's been able to pick his spots and doing it beautifully.
So there is Brad Doty in the 18 car, moving into challenge for that 8th spot. Doty using that cushion perfectly as he rides that high groove. There is the 24 car, Ronnie Daniels. And Daniels right now is about a 6-car length lead on Doty, and we'll see whether he can hold it.
Brock, we have got a caution flag out all of a sudden. The yellow flag is waving. The lights are on around the circuit. It does not appear to be any kind of a crash. We have just got a car. In fact, Joe Garrity, the white 33 car, is up against the wall in turn number 2. He's in a rather dangerous position, so wisely they put up the yellow. The cars will circulate around until he gets towed in.
So, tough break for Joe Garrity. That'll put him out of the contest, so to speak. 16 laps are left. Steve Kinzer continues to circulate here. And now, while we got a little break in the action, why don't we go to Steve Evans, who continues his tour, Duncan Hines tour of Knoxville.
Dingus Bar, not 100 yards from the fence in turn number 1. And it's here that a lot of the fans, and crews for that matter, like to come after the races, have a couple of brewskis, bench race a bit about what happened. But don't come in here looking for fried cheese or nachos or a nice glass of French Chablis. This is a real man's kind of a bar. If it's cold beer you want, you've come to the right place. Or maybe a good pool challenge back in the room, or stuff some quarters into the jukebox. And on the walls, you'll find a lot of sprint car memorabilia, posters, and so forth. In fact, they even sponsor one of the cars. You know, this used to be considered a little bit of a rowdy joint, but that all ended with the drought of '81. That brought a stop to the wet T-shirt competition.
And a black day it was here in Knoxville, as we're almost ready to get started again. They've cleared away Garrity, towed him into the infield, and we've got the standings. Kinzer, Bobby Davis Jr., Mark Kinzer, Jimmy Sills, and Jeff Swindell, top 5 here. So all have a shot at the victory with 16 more laps under green, all set to start. So Steve Kinzer leads him down the back straightaway and gets on the throttle into turn number 3. Steve Evans.
Now that red 7 TW car right there, that is the lap car of Rick Unger. to go back and find second place. Let's see how far we have to do it. Bobby Davis Jr. in the 6th red car right there. So Steve Kinzer has a significant lead right after the restart. And also, back in the field, have been some good battles going on. The 51 white car, Mark Kinzer right there. He's in the 3rd position. Jimmy Sills, the track record holder, trying to take that away. Also, Jeff Swindell involved there. That's the best race on the track right now.
It sure is. And really, second place is up for grabs. Steve Kinzer's got himself a clear track right now and is able to move out a little bit. But look at Jans, Kinzer, and Jimmy Sills go at it.
Well, Sills appears to have that combination back that he ran so well with in qualifying. He's not up front, but he certainly is challenging back in that 4th position. And he and Mark Kinzer having quite a tussle here. The orange car and the white 51 machine. Now, Sills almost got into the right rear wheel of Kinzer, but he stood on the brakes just for a second and got away from him. That cost him a little bit of speed. He's now trying to make that up by out-driving Kinzer through the turns.
But Mark Kinzer showing all the savvy of a veteran. In fact, some of the savvy of that older cousin of his who's leading the race. Goes down low. Jimmy Sills stuck in a little bit of traffic and loses some places here, or loses a little bit of an advantage as he dives underneath Danny Lasowski to stay right on Mark Kinzer's tail. Well, these guys working their way through slower traffic. As we said earlier, Steve Kinzer has himself a relatively open track up ahead.
What a testimony to the skill of these drivers, Brock, to put this many of them out here on this giant racetrack, put up the kind of money they're racing for, the prestige, and not have it get any more physical than it is. They're just so skilled, they're just keeping away from confrontations by good driving.
Well, they don't like to bump into each other either, Steve, as these cars are so fast and so twitchy that one miscue, you can put yourself right into the fence. As Brad Doty goes way up against the fence in turn number 1 to take that 9th spot away from Ronnie Daniels. They've been struggling the whole race, Steve.
Now, the white car we see there is 2S Steve Siegel. He's a lap car. Sammy Swindell had a terrific restart and is up to 7th position. That is the one car. He is running all by himself out there right now in 7th. But look at Ronnie Daniels in the 24 car. He has retaken 9th position from 18 Brad Doty. Doty doesn't like that at all, but gets squeezed up against the fence and has to lift.
Well, Ronnie Daniels is taking that low side on this racetrack and holding off Doty, but there comes Doty back at him up on top again. What a race.
And just behind them, that's the leader, Steve Kinzer, the 11 car. He is about to lap all of them. You talk about insult to injury to be running as hard as Brad Doty is and get lapped by the leader.
Well, it just shows how just potent that combination of the Kinzers is, as that 11 car just working absolutely perfectly. Here he comes, that beautiful high-riding number 11 car as he comes by Daniels and now moves in on Brad Doty. Down underneath Doty and takes him relatively easily, Steve. That's hard to believe, isn't it? As you say, as hard as Brad seems to be running.
Oh, yeah, and you're right. The combination of the Carl Kinzer horsepower and chassis. Look at this race for the 4th position. There's 1T, the orange car of Jeff Swindell. And here, 56 red, Kenny Jacobs gets underneath them. And Jimmy Sills also for that 4th position.
So, Jacobs running very well as Jeff Swindell and Jimmy Sills seem to be faltering a little bit. It could be tire wear. It's hard to say, but both of them who started very well have now fallen off the pace a little bit.
And you wonder why Jimmy Sills, who qualified number 1, can't match those kind of times. Well, that was another day and another racetrack. These tracks have a different personality every day, depending on the rain, the wind, the heat. It's all a big factor.
It sure is, and you've got to guess right. And remember, that's what Steve Kinzer said with you, Steve. He said, maybe Carl and I are a little bit better than reading these racetracks than anybody else. And that is such a critical factor because not only will the racetracks change, but the setup changes throughout the race. And a guy like Kinzer can make cockpit adjustments, oftentimes maybe a little bit better than anybody else. There he is. There's your leader, running an absolute masterful race here at Knoxville.
Even the wings on these cars are cockpit adjustable. And as they go into the turns right there, you can see the wing go down a few degrees to get the downforce in the turns where they want it. Now as Steve Kinzer, who is lapping Jeff Swindell, goes down the straightaway, they'll take that tilt back out of the wing.
Well, Jeff's car is not working well at all. You can see him bobble going into that corner. So Swindell falling off the pace, obviously with a car that is not handling. believe it, Steve. Any one of 1,000 little things can go wrong with these things to make them not work right.
Steve Kinzer is just about 17 seconds away from history. He could be, this is the last lap, he could be the winningest driver in the history of the Coors Knoxville Nationals at 5. And right now, Brock, I'd bet on it.
Well, he can coast on from here as he comes down low through turn number 3, sweeps high off turn 4, and takes the checkered flag. A dominating performance by Steve Kinzer off the pole to lead every lap. 30 laps from green to checker for Steve Kinzer. A beautiful performance.
As impressive a sprint car drive as you will ever see for Steve Kinzer. We'll be back to talk to the champ and some other top runners. What a race.
Well, you saw it, an exercise in sprint car domination by Steve Kinzer. Bobby Davis Jr., Mark Kinzer, Kenny Jacobs, and Jimmy Sills round out the top 5 in this prestigious field. And now let's go to Steve with the winner.
30 laps of perfect driving have made Steve Kinzer the winningest racer ever in the Knoxville Nationals. What a ride, what a drive, what a show.
Well, this thing's just fun to drive right here. It really works good. I don't know, it's awful fast.
You know, you got out and asked your crew if there was any pressure on you. Let me tell you, there was nobody close.
Well, it's like I said, we've been running really good all year, and that damn Carl Kinzer is tough.
Boy, yes, Uncle Carl, he had some horsepower in this thing, and you're both going to make a pretty nice bank deposit, a little over $30,000.
Yeah, that's not bad. We'll take it.
Okay. Congratulations again.
Thank you.
Okay, Steve Kinzer, what a sprint car driver. Let's go to Brock Yates with second place.
Oh, Bobby Davis Jr. out of the car. Bobby, good hard race for second. Good jump on the start, but then Steve just seemed to be able to drive away from everybody.
Well, I guess that motor's really running in that thing. It's been running all year, and well, you can see tonight, every lap, he just kept on going. You know, it's like running out on the expressway, and he just kept pulling and pulling.
Yeah, you maybe that little yellow, you thought maybe always on a restart there's always a chance, but not tonight, huh?
Well, no, not really. Well, you always hope that, but there was about 5 or 6 lap cars in between us, and he had the line to get up top quick, and I had to kind of slide underneath him and catch the cushion coming off, and the thing's just running.
Racetracks seem to be pretty good. There are a lot of everybody. You seem to be working high, though. Most of the fast guys the grooves seem to work up a little bit.
Well, yeah, you try to lean against the cushion as much as you can, and try to save your tires. You try to go with the softest tires you could. And but we felt good. We can run right through the middle, right around the bottom. We really felt pretty good everywhere.
Well, congratulations on super second place. I know it's been a long night.
Yeah, it has. Thank you.
Okay, bye. Now let's go to Steve for the third place finisher.
Thank you, Brock, and what a night it has been for the Kinzer clan. The crowd still cheering in the background. Mark, third place, a wonderful drive.
Thank you. I got Russ Ray and Jim Ray working on the car. We got a little help from Rich Taylor, and I'll tell you what, I'm really happy because it's a big thrill for me.
You didn't have it quite as easy as Steve. You were in some battles out there.
Oh, I'm telling you, me and Seals and me and Jeff Swindell, I tell you what, we went heads up for about 10 laps there, and it was just, it was just rub and be rubbed, and just hope one of us come out on top and all of us finish.
The Kinzers 1-3 tonight at the biggest sprint car race of them all. Again, congratulations to the whole family.
Thank you.
I'll shake that hand. Okay, Brock.
Well, Steve, we'd like to thank everybody here in the great city of Knoxville, especially Grant Rankin, Ralph Capitani, and Dwayne Roebuck. We thank them for a sensational night of racing.